Welcome back to Floki's Models. Today we'll be doing an in-box review of Kitty Hawk's F-101B Voodoo, kit number 80114. The first sprue out of the box is A. It contains the radar and radio equipment, the fairing for the camera, which is used on the RF version, and also the avionics bay covers. Next is sprue D and D1. They're on the same tree, it's just folded in two. It contains the left and right rings, tail, along with the gear bays, and has some really nice panel line and rivet detail on it. I don't know if you can, how well that's going to show up. There. Tail section, the other ring, and then free. Open it up, you can see the ring detail, or the landing bay, gear bay detail. Next is sprue C, that contains the rest of the tail section, again with great detail. Moving over to the fuselage, the top section looks really good, but the bottom section is a bit different. It starts out with great detail, but by the time you get over here, the detail gets kind of soft and the rivet detail almost disappears at the end. See if we can get that in shot. You can see the rivet detail really starts to disappear by the time you get to here. Kind of shows up a little better on the camera than it does, just with your eye. The tail has some really nice detail on it. Cord for the camera. Next sprue out of the box is letter B. It contains the tires, and cockpit parts, the front fuselage. Again, some of the rivet detail really starts to fade out once you get to the bottom here. Let's see, focus. I don't want to focus too well. But as all that detail, as you get closer to the bottom here, it really starts to fade out. Now, being on the bottom section, that's better than being on the top side, since it'd be less noticeable, but still something to be aware of. Sprue E is next. It has the drop tanks, along with the weapons, and the jet intakes. It also has some pieces for the landing gear up here. They all look really good. Let's jump back to these two sprues really quick. They both have a little warp in them, and that's because they are a bit too big for the box they are shipped in. Hopefully that slight bend won't affect the parts in any way. The last sprue is the clear parts. Unfortunately, the canopy is cracked. I reached out to Kitty Hawk about getting a replacement, and they wanted $15 plus shipping just for this one part. I figured for that much I would try to find a vacuum form canopy, and I've looked, I can't find anything. I don't know, I'm just gonna try to repair that the best I can and hope for the best. Shortly after reaching out to Kitty Hawk, they announced that they was filing bankruptcy, and so now I really can't get a replacement for this. Moving on to the Photoetch, it contains the instrument panel, and along with the side panels and the belts, the mirrors, and some detail components for the engine. Now there is no detail on the styrene pieces for the cockpit. It's just PE here. Next, moving to the decals. The first sheet contains the instrument panel and side panel decals. and like I said, they just fit right over the Photoetch. It also has tail insignias for a couple of the marking options. And we'll pull out the second sheet here. Second sheet contains the remainder of the insignia for American and Royal Canadian Air Force jets. These decals, I'm not sure who made them, if they're Kitty Hawk's in-house, but they do seem to be on the thick side, kind of like Tamiya. And we'll see how well they work out. And next, we'll go look at the instructions. Alright, we'll have a quick flip through of the instruction booklet here. Of course, first page is the part list. And then, step 1 has you assemble the intakes and put them in the bottom fuselage section. Then, building of the cans and attaching the top and bottom fuselage section together. And go over here to step 8 already, and that is building one of the gear bays and the gears, landing gear. Down here we've got the assembly of air brakes. And we got the same assembly just for the other wing. And attaching the cans to the rear fuselage section. And then that brings us all the way to step 17 here, which is attaching the wings and the tail section to the rear fuselage. Again, adding some more parts to the tail. Then starting on step 19, we start assembly of the cockpit. See, it's pretty sparse in there. Kitty Hawk didn't really put much effort into the cockpit the way it looks. And there's the front gear bay. And then assembly of the droppable weapons. Then assembling of the front fuselage. Then we get into options here. This is what I'm going to build. I'm going to build the RF option, the photo reconnaissance. And so it'll be these two steps I'll be using for that. Which that is adding the special camera fairing to the front of it. And then installation of the canopy, which of course is broke. And then putting the front fuselage to the rear, attaching the drop tanks. And then the last page is the marking option, or one of the marking options. This is the one that I'm going to go with, which is an F-101B White 434. And the only reason why I'm going to go with this one is, one, because it's a photo reconnaissance version that I'm building for a group build over at Scale Plastic Aircraft Modelers, and I really like the Southeast Asia camo scheme. Alright, and pull out the other sheet here, which contains some more options. First one here is for a Royal Canadian Air Force jet. And one from the 437th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, which is all in bare metal, which if I was gonna build another one of these, I'd probably go with this one right here, because I do like a natural metal finish. And here's one of the markings of the 60th Fighter Squadron. And the last one on here is the 132nd Fighter Interceptor Squadron. Well, that's the kit in a nutshell. So I'm going to start building this one here soon, and I'll let you guys know more about how I enjoyed this build. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll be back later.